If this video is blurry, I am not recording it again because it is too much. Hi, I'm Jen Tatro, and this is from Jen. If you don't know me already, I write online about mindfulness, happiness, and creativity. And it turns out I have PTSD. I really thought that PTSD was a diagnosis for people who have been in war zones, for sexual assault survivors, for someone who has experienced the kind of trauma that most of us would find just incomprehensible. I did not think that it would apply to somebody like me. But when I was 5 years old, or maybe 6, my parents split up. And my dad moved across the country, and from that point on, my younger brother and I saw him twice a year. Once at Christmas and once during summer vacation. I don't think that's an uncommon story, especially for kids like me who grew up in the 70s and 80s. And that's what I spent 40 plus years of my life believing, that if so many other people had the same story as me, it was really no big deal. It turns out it was a big deal. And maybe it's not just a big deal for me, maybe it's a big deal for a lot of other people who share my story. Because what my 5-year-old brain learned in that experience was that the person that you love most in the world, the person that you believe loves you most in the world, the person whose devotion you would never, ever, ever think to question, and make no mistake about it, I was 100% daddy's little girl back then. There is nothing at all stopping that person from just walking away in search of something better. And then what happened is after that, other trauma started piling on, because every life is full of stressors. And my brain was primed early to suss out the slightest whiff of instability and just leap in to protect me. When I was 14, my family was homeless for a year. Not the kind of homeless where we were living on the street, but the kind of homeless where we lived in a residential hotel and we stayed with relatives and friends. And my brain said, you thought that you were safe in your life, but you are not. And then when my college boyfriend, the one that I let down all of my guards to love with the fierceness that scared and amazed me, when he broke up with me, my highly alert brain said, how could you think that you were safe with this person? You should have known that you wouldn't be safe. And when my baby was born prematurely, when he stopped breathing and turned blue and was rushed to the NICU, my brain wasted no time in reminding me, you can't keep your child safe. And I'm telling you this not just to recite a litany of all of the small and large tragedies of my life. I'm telling you to illustrate how it continues again and again, no matter the size of the trauma, until a year ago when my husband was diagnosed with metastatic cancer in his late 40s, and my hyper-vigilant, scarred, injured brain said, hey, remember all those other wounds? Remember all that past trauma? Remember how you filed that away and just continued living like the world wasn't trying to break you? You are done with that. You're done. You should have learned that lesson when we were 5, but you didn't. So I'm taking over, and I just want you to know that you will never, ever be safe again. And that's when I decided to get help. That part, the getting help part, thank goodness that was easy. I called the mental health line associated with my insurance. I was connected with a therapist, and I've been seeing her weekly via video chat since then, and it's helped a lot. But what I've learned since then is that PTSD, like mine, with its roots in childhood or repeated trauma, is called complex PTSD. And just like in the form of PTSD most of us have heard of, complex PTSD is triggered by stimuli that remind the brain of all of the times it felt endangered. Instead of those visceral memory flashbacks like you might see illustrating PTSD in a movie, I tend to have emotional ones. So when I'm triggered, which happens mostly around abandonment, medical issues, and finances, my chest tightened and it gets a little difficult to breathe, and I start to feel a lot like a 5-year-old left to fend for herself. It doesn't matter that I'm 48, that I have a college degree, that I've successfully raised my own child to adulthood. In those minutes, I am a kid and I am alone. It wasn't until I was diagnosed this year that I was able to look back at my life and clearly see all the many times when I was suffering from PTSD flashbacks and I had no idea what was happening. I thought I was just hypersensitive, that I didn't handle stress well, that I overreacted to really small issues. And while all of those characterizations may have been true, now I know why I had the reactions I did and why I still have them. I wish I had known sooner so that I could have started getting help sooner. Actually, there was one other time when I tried to get help. It was just after that breakup in college that I mentioned. I was so depressed, I was having a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. So with just a heroic amount of effort, I went to the campus health clinic and I got a prescription for Prozac and a referral to a counselor. And I started taking the pills. I went to 1 session of therapy and I told my mother about my depression and what I was doing. And her response was, "Oh, sweetie, are you sure? I'm really worried it'll make it difficult for you to get a job in the future if you have a mental illness on your record." So I canceled my therapy appointment. I stopped taking Prozac. And I never got to the root of my issues. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm broadcasting my PTSD on the internet to anyone who cares to hear the story. Because a mental health diagnosis isn't shameful. It doesn't make you a failure or broken or incompetent. A mental health diagnosis gives you a framework to understand how your brain works and insight into what shaped your reactions over time. It gives you access to strategies that are going to help you function better, and it gives you a chance to stop just painting over all the cracks and start actually repairing them. And if you're in a place similar to where I am or to where I've been, I guess what I really want is for you to know that I see you. And that I am not lying when I say at the end of every video, I am wishing you love and joy and all of those good things. Because I wish those things for myself too. I really do. We're going to talk about this more. But until next time, you know what I'm going to say. I am wishing you love and joy and all of those good things. And I can't wait to talk to you again.